I love having fun with my truck. You love having fun with your truck, and you should love having fun with your truck.
I'm just a glutton for
You're just a guy. He's a fixer guy.
I mean, all of it starts with like, get a tune or something in your truck and you hot rod a little bit out on the back street. And then pretty soon you're like, I wonder how fast this is. Then you race a buddy or you're at a stoplight and you race somebody and you get a thrill. It's a little exciting. And you either get caught by the cops and it ends early or you go legit racing because you can't race on the street forever. Eventually the long arm of the law will catch up and
you can't go as fast on the street as you can the track. It's not glue. There's no glue. I mean, there's just things you cannot do on the street that you can do on a surface like a slipple track or whatever it is you're competing in. It's just different. Like even motocross, I ride motocross a lot, and like motocross tracks have ruined me. I don't even care to ride in the trails anymore. They're so boring compared to a real motocross track. I mean, real tracks like kind of ruin the not the street. The street's always fun, but it is interesting.
Soccer moms, they still gotta get gapped.
And Meyer is the king of gapping the soccer moms.
I think in the last 4 years, I've lost to 2. That's it.
So
I just wasn't ready.
Weren't you you lost to anybody? What the?
Weren't you at the local Maverick gas station one time and you heard some kids that thought they had a fast truck, but they were warning everybody not to race a certain vehicle? Tell the story.
No, it's similar to that. They're combining 2 stories. One was I was at a gas station and some random guy in some random third gen was like, dude, we should line them up again sometime. And I was like, we've never raced. I was like, I don't know you. I was like, I don't know what you're thinking, but sure, we can. Good luck. I wish you nothing but the best.
So you beat a guy not even racing. He was racing you.
He thought I was racing,
and you're just driving.
I make a habit of crossing that white line at the
first, no matter what.
Yeah.
Always first.
Always.
Good habits. So racing is like, competition is addictive, and fair warning, if you start getting into this, it will ruin you because there's nothing else in life that's remotely as exhilarating, fun, exciting, we're thinking about. I mean, I haven't found anything. I mean, no matter what I'm doing, I'm like, it'd be more fun if I was racing right now.
I haven't tried drugs before, and I don't intend to because racing's a pretty dang good drug.
Yeah.
It's a lot more expensive. So
allegedly.
So I've heard.
So I mean, it's fun to race. I mean, how did you get started, Todd? What was the first time you raced?
The first time I raced was in my very first truck. It was known to us as Rocky, but then Frankenstein. Has been so long since anybody's seen it, they probably have forgotten about it. But this is my original quad cab Holy Grail Dodge second gen truck. And
a lot of people think that is Frankenstein.
Is the Godfather.
Which is the Godfather.
Different trucks.
2 different trucks. So they're both green. They're both second gen 98s. The difference is that the Godfather is a short bed and your
Frankenstein's a long bed.
Is a long bed.
The Godfather is actually a Gasser 1500 I converted. But there's not much difference there. The frames are pretty much identical. Anyway, so yeah, I had gotten this truck and I was reading the forums and I was very excited about performance. I loved power. At this time, I had a Suzuki Hayabusa, which I never raced, but it was pretty fast. But we live at elevation here, and at 6,000 feet, that naturally aspirated motor really had left something lacking. At least I thought till I rode my buddy's 600. Then I'm like, why would you even bother? This thing is so slow. So that was pretty good there. But I wanted to get into, I was having kids at the time. You can't take kids on your Hayabusa. So I was looking for a truck, and I wanted a 12 valve. And I had just done some simple mods. I had some fuel injectors. They were the DDP stage 4s. I had like a 12 mil 215 pump. Nothing special there, just a fuel plate. And your standard stuff. I mean, this is a 5-speed.
So you're trying to race your 5-speed.
The first thing I did is I went to watch a race, and it had a dyno there. So I did a dyno event. My very first thing was competing on the dyno for a dyno class. Mine was I don't remember the class at the time, but I had a S300 on it. So small turbo, small single probably. And I did 530 horsepower, nothing special, but I was pretty happy with that number. And then I just proceeded to watch other people race. And I'm like, dude, that is so much cooler than what I'm doing here in the stands watching them race. And I just really wanted to race. And I remember just watching and being just amazed because I was pretty new at the time. And there's some guy there who had like a sled pull truck with these monster turbos, and he wasn't lit till half track. I'm like, look at this turd. And all of a sudden turbos come alive. That thing was a rocket. I'm like, oh my gosh, That was so fast. Look at this big old heavy sled pull truck, just faster than anything I've ever seen. And like, I got to try this. So they had another event, and this time my wife wasn't particularly supportive of me racing.
Oh, really? Why not?
Because she's logical.
Well, yeah, my truck was pretty nice and it worked. So those were pretty good reasons for her to not be thrilled about it. But I'm like, dude, I got to try. I got to do it. So I signed up to race at the next event that I went to. And I started in the bracket class, which is like the lowest level class. Like it's the entry level class. It's the biggest class. It has the most competitors. There's more people in that because it's your true street truck. Just bring it off the street and race it type class. And it was super fun.
Now, how do they make a bracket class fair? So if I have a more modified stock truck and you have a very stock truck, how do you even make that a close race in bracket racing?
Well, it's pretty ingenious, really. It's they have staggered starts. So we had 2 qualifying rounds. So I get up there and it goes green, and I go as fast as I can. Let's say my truck was a 13.5 second at 101 mile an hour. Let's
in
say,
a quarter mile.
in quarter mile. And so then that's a data point for me. Okay, 13.5 at 101. Now I have qualifying round 2. And the next one I went 13.6 at 99 or something. So I've got 2 slips. I went a 13.5 and a 13.6. I get to choose the speed or the elapsed time I want on my truck. So I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to put a 13.5 on my window. So they say, okay, you can go as fast as you want as long as it's not faster than 13.5. Now you with the modified truck, maybe you're running 12.5. Okay. And so you decided you wanted a 12.5 on your truck. So then you put a 12.5 in your window. What happens is I get a 1 second head start. And so we both leave.
So your light turns green 1 second before mine does.
Yep. So you'll
on the tree.
You've probably seen this if you're on events, like, they leave at different times. And that's so it equalizes a faster car versus a not fast car. So hopefully I can beat you or you can beat me in reaction time. Because if we both run perfect, we have a perfect reaction time and both run our dial, we'll tie at the end.
It'd be a dead tie.
Yeah. But what you find happens is the guy who understands the tree, the guy who knows how to leave the line, he will always win. He'll be so far ahead. He'll be on the brakes because he doesn't want to go faster than the time on his window. I mean, you have to be a real idiot to be in the lead and not get on the brakes and, go faster than your dial time. Right, Will?
Do you concur?
I've done that a few times.
So
you're like, look at this slow poke back there.
I'm gonna gap him in a bracket race.
Really show him. I'll put 4 bus lengths on him.
So in a bracket race, in general, the races are very, very close, unless you have some, except for if people do well. Now, if you beat them at the tree, some people have no clue how the tree works, and so if you have a big lead, they probably screwed up on the tree. Enter Meyer.
Yeah, that's me. It's your boy.
And so then you have a big lead. And at that point, you're going to slow down. So you do not go faster. For me, 13.5. For you, 12.5, right? Because if you go under that time, you're booted. It's called a breakout. You broke out, meaning you went faster than what you said you would.
How did you do in your first race in a bracket class with experienced racers, you being obviously a rookie at it?
Now, again,
did you win any rounds?
This is a I wouldn't say it's experienced class. There are a few experienced people in this class, but it's more of like a come off the street, have fun, learn how to drag race class. Like it's for really the novice people out there who and everybody encourages them to come because we want them in the sport. We need more people in the sport. Every sport wants new blood, right? And so anybody who's scared of drag racing, you shouldn't be because everybody there wants you to come and play. And so I don't know if I won a round, but it certainly wasn't more than one. I think I did win the first round actually, and I think I went out the second round. I had a manual truck. I was in the 5-speed, the old NV 4500. And so I'm not as consistent as like an automatic. I can't launch as consistent. I'm like kind of just revving it up and trying to, figure
dump
it out.
Dump the clutch, feather it just right.
Yeah,
it's
so
kind of tough.
So manual drag racing in brackets is not a very good idea. But it did plant the seed. It was done. I was like, dude, this is awesome. That's how I got started. That was my first race. What about you?
So my first time drag racing, I had a 99 24 valve Dodge. That's why my forum name used to be Big Blue 24 valve. And I had an HE351 turbo swapped on there, and I made a whopping 499.2.
Yeah.
Can't round it to 500 horsepower. And I took it out to the track on what they called Midnight Mayhem, which was like a Friday night street legal night at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And it's so fun. There's so many Corvettes and I almost said Rice Rockets. Honda Civics and
It's a good thing you caught yourself there.
Close one. You almost let that slip.
and Subarus and there's all these different and there's muscle cars and there's trucks and cars and everything, bullet bikes, and it's all out there, and you can race pretty much anybody, whoever you want to line up next to. And there's riffraff and there's gambling, and I mean it's just great. People betting on who's gonna win, and I made a lot of people money with my junker drag truck over the years back as I got better at having the rattiest truck that's pretty fast. But my first time was in my 24 valve manual 5-speed, had a Valair ceramic single disc clutch, and I remember I went up there and I launched hard, and I was in second gear, 4-wheel drive, 2,800 RPM, probably my first time, and kind of dumped the clutch and kind of messed up the 2-3 shift. And I think I ran like a 14.9 or 14.8 and a quarter mile. And I think I beat some slow like Ford Taurus or something like that. And it was so exhilarating to beat a dumpy Ford Taurus. And went out, but it's cool because you get a time slip and you get all your incremental times, and you get to see, why did this one go faster? And all of a sudden I was like, this data is so cool. Like, and I figured out there's horsepower calculators, and I was like, wow, I averaged 400 horsepower, 390 horsepower, and my shift time. And it's just for a data junkie, it was awesome to get all that information. And then just all the random people you meet, you get to talk to people about cars, you stay out till midnight, it was
Your mom let you stay out till midnight.
Yeah.
That's really nice of her.
No, I mean, that's just how it was, but it was a lot of fun. So much fun. The next Midnight Mayhem with the same truck, I brought my wife.
Ooh.
And and if you ran slower than 1399, which I did, you could have a passenger. And so my wife rode there, and she actually has some footage of her. Like, she had a blast. Like, when you're beating somebody, it's like neck and neck. And it's you grab a gear and you pull up, and then you shift and they get back, and it's just, anyways, it was a lot of fun. We didn't have any kids, things change. You start having kids, and your wife doesn't like risking her life next to you in a race truck for some reason.
Yeah, that's where that happens.
But yeah, my first time was racing a manual transmission truck, and shortly after that second outing, my clutch didn't work anymore, and I had to start my truck in gear with the clutch pushed in. Couldn't shift it into gear from an idle unless you got it in gear while you're still rolling, and I had to replace the clutch. And that whole next week, as I suffered to get my warped clutch, warped flywheel, whatever was messed up to work, I was like, that was the stupidest decision I've ever made. I need a race truck. You can't race the daily. And so yeah, I fixed the clutch, and kind of very quickly quit racing the daily.